Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing as Sweden with the intention of forwarding Scandinavia. Last episode we did make some progress on the text, but we are kind of wanting to come up on pan-nationalism. We also tripled construction, but we are losing a good chunk of money, and the construction is really not that useful right now because we've basically run out of labor, and so we're going to try and solve it, and we're going to try and solve it without kind of abusing China, which is kind of the more metagame approach, but we're going to try and do it without doing this because we do it every time, and and I get plenty of complaints. But, just to be clear, in episode 1, we probably should have landed China for the war reps, and maybe taking Beijing, and this is doable, but we're not showing it, and it's just wanted to point this out. Notably, though, we have been, throughout this run, it seems a little bit buggy when it comes to enforcing secondary war goals. We're not getting all of the war reparations we should be getting. We are getting the ones from Portugal, but throughout this run, we would have been able to have more construction than something like this. I think we're in 1.4.1 or 1.4.2, but just something kind of worth noting. Other stuff we've done is we have gotten kind of a lot of spots, where we have subjugated people, and they are paying us out a good amount of money and helping to support the economy, and notably, we have taken South America, which is fairly meta, just like going after China, and our main idea is you get the gold fields, which give you a ton of money, and then on top of this, we have coal problems, and if you're having coal problems, I feel bad for you, son. You probably can only build coal in Scania, and this is why you're having coal problems. So this is kind of where we're at. We're still trying to maybe, I'm not 100% sure how the nation formation works. Once we get pan-nationalism, we'll take a better look at this sort of thing, but we have been trying to go diplomatically. Is that a... Okay, so we have been trying to do it a little bit diplomatically. There's no unification candidate for this, but it is a major unification, and so I'm thinking that, we just need to get enough people, we just need to get to the point where we can launch a unification play. It doesn't seem like it pulls in everyone else, and so if we can do this, then this will be fairly fine. Notably in here, we do not have to fight the people who are kind of already allied with us. We only have to fight Finland and Lubeck. We don't have to fight Denmark, who is in our customs union. So we'll see how that cranks out. So we do have a little bit of an interesting decision point here, and I'm actually not sure what's correct, and that is annexing Peru-Bolivia. Now, Peru-Bolivia has a lot of gold mines. These gold mines would give us, obviously, a lot of income, and gold mines are incredibly efficient, and these guys pay us, if I'm not mistaken, on the basis of their tax income, of which gold is not a part of it. So we're really not, making too much off of this gold, but they're using it to construct, kind of, and so they're going to be paying us out a little bit, but not as much as we would like. But here's the problem. Here's the rub. We have huge population problems, and we don't really want to build in Peru-Bolivia because there's a whole lot of, construction malices here. Like, the very, very worst state to build in, La Paz, which is, none of these construction malices exist in 1.5, but what we will see is, minus 33% state construction efficiency, minus 10%, and on top of this, there is another modifier. And that is that these babies have an absolute ton of migration attraction, so they will siphon off pops from mainland Sweden, and so our population problems will only compound. And so this is an interesting, I think, kind of decision point, because we would like to have these gold mines, but we don't want them siphoning off our pops. Currently, they're not likely to be siphoning off our pops because they probably don't accept our pops, so it's fine having them in the customs union. In fact, we can siphon off their pops, we can drink their milkshake. You notice there's not a lot of Swedes down here because they discriminate, and so while we can maybe siphon off to the extent that any of these guys are European, oriented, we can siphon them off. I don't know what, Sami is from, but we have Danish, Finnish, we're siphoning off from the people in our customs union here. And so, it's an interesting thing, but I think we're actually not supposed to annex Peru-Bolivia, despite the fact that we would get quite a few gold mines, because I think it creates problems, but I'm also very unsure in this. I think it's entirely reasonable that, the couple gold mines we have here would make it totally worth it to annex them. But it is a bit of an interesting inflection point. Notably in 1.5, Peru-Bolivia is going to get even better as a place to take, because unless they nerf the rice farms, they have doubled output and doubled inputs and doubled labor, but not doubled construction, so it's effectively 2 buildings for the price of 1. But I just thought that this was actually kind of an interesting interesting decision point as it relates to migration, because, you know, we would really like the gold mines, but we really don't want, you know, when we annex it, there's going to be a bunch of turmoil, and we don't want our construction to be useless because it's being applied to places that are just going to have their pops siphoned off. I guess maybe, maybe the migration attraction here is good enough. The thing is this, they don't have the Intelligentsia propagandists. Yeah, they're going to siphon off from these places, because these places have a bunch of positive modifiers, which would then get turned into positive modifiers in Peru, Bolivia, and so, you know, to the extent that we're siphoning off pops from Denmark and Norway and stuff, they would instead start going to, you know, Peru, Bolivia, which we don't want them there. We don't want them there because we don't want to build there, because not only is there construction malice, you know, just based off these state modifiers, but there's also an extra construction malice, or there will be when we have a bunch of turmoil, and they have like Andes and the desert and all this type of stuff. So I think we just lay off of it and don't annex them. To try and solve our pop problems, we've put in interest in Italy, because Italy contains some of the few places that are European that are maybe easier to get into our market, and so we are going to come in here and we're going to start doing a larger volume of trade with them, with the hopes of eventually pulling them into our customs union so we can siphon off their pops. You know, Spain would be really great, but I think that so Spain is a major power, we're a great power. In theory, we can pull Spain into our customs union at some point, and we're actually pretty close to being able to pull them in, but we don't have enough. Okay, so is the real problem's only the influence? So here's what we'll do. We're going to take a look and see if we can get any decent looking rivals. Now, I don't think we want to be rival to Russia. I think we want to try and get Netherlands into our customs union, and maybe this USA rivalry is not too bad for us, but we don't want to be rival to Russia, because when we go after Finland with this unification play, which doesn't seem to auto-pull in Russia, we don't want Russia to join, because otherwise we're going to have a bad time. So, you know, we would rather, I think, have good relations with them, and so this is going to give us enough influence, and so now let's take a look, and we should be able to pull in Spain, if that was correct. Now, why can't we pull in Spain? Why can we not invite them to the customs union, owing them an obligation? They're so close to accepting. It's just 19? Minus 19? It's only giving 11 for offering an obligation? So we could bankroll them, but that is an expensive bankroll. They're already friendly and, you know, genial. And so maybe we just keep an eye on this for pulling them in. A little surprising that we can't get as much from an obligation from them, but maybe we just need to, you know, generate a little bit more power projection in order to do that. So let's actually recruit a few more troops down here, kind of where we have been having a few extra troops, so we'll put those in the queue, and then maybe a little bit more navy, which, while not useful, you know, is while not useful of too much in-game for us, it is going to give us a lot more power projection, you know, per our cost. We are running quite a bit of a negative right now, and so if we could get migration really up and going, we might be able to build into this, but we might also have to slough off some of these construction sectors. The real problem is like, where we're building, we can't fully employ up, and we're already into using a lot of labor-saving PMs, maybe a lot earlier than we would like, you know, on water tube, boiler, water tube, let's go water tube, you know, like, all of these will be really efficient. We were having coal problems, but now we can kind of turn all of these on, you know, a little bit better, but, you know, we're using every labor-saving PM, we're scraping the barrel. This is really one of the weaknesses of Scandinavia and why Sweden is not that good. You know, despite having really good bonuses in terms of the resources, if you know, are hitting this situation pretty quickly, obviously it's going to have some problems, and our construction is really not doing anything. Like, we're building an iron mine. What's this iron mine going to do in Norland? Well, it's going to increase the throughput from economies of scale, but it's not going to generate revenue like a normal iron mine. And the only place we can kind of build in that we currently have is Transvaal, but we have a pretty nasty construction malice here. I suppose it's coming down. I suppose we might build in it, because this is probably actually going to be more useful than nothing, but, like, man, does it feel bad. So I guess we're just going to click this, and okay, we already had it on auto expand, and click a couple of these and maybe throw a railway at the front, but you can see that, you know, our problems are really coming from lack of pops here. And so this is kind of why we're taking a look at some of the European pops which we can accept, how to pull them into our customs union a little bit better. Looks like France pulled a little bit of a naughty and kind of ruined Hanover's market. Do they still have access to the sea? They do, but we couldn't pull in Hanover because then Hanover won't have access, because they only have access through Bremen and Oldenburg, because France was being a little bit naughty. We are trying to get the Netherlands in, we're trying to get all of these Italians in, and we'll see what we can do. So we deleted down 20 construction worth of construction sectors, specifically in areas where we were having labor problems anyways, especially Norland, and so we will get to see this place employ up a little bit, but also see, you know, our costs come down considerably from like minus 30k to just minus 8k, because we're both getting more of the goods we're consuming in terms of the construction goods, and we're spending less of them simultaneously. Unfortunately, I think this is necessary, especially with us building, you know, naval bases up there too. Over here, we're going to eventually try and get into Kalat. This is going to be a little bit more of a slow play, but outside of China, which we're not going to be using for getting pop unless we can pull them into our customs union, outside of that, the best place to get pop that is normally discriminated against Europeans is here in Punjab, because they have 15 mil pops. So we are dominioning Macron with the idea of eventually annexing them, and then dominioning Kalat, and then, you know, moving our way in, snaking our way in towards the Sikh Empire. So we just finished unlocking the labor movement technology here, which has a hidden modifier which allows, you know, the trade unions to get a little bit more clout. So let's just take a look. I don't think I've done this one before, where we just take a look, you know, kind of right after. We were at 3.7, sorry, I guess you guys can't see it. They were at 3.5, now they're climbing up, kind of off the back of getting this trade unions thing. They should continue to climb. I think they'll get demarginalized off of this. Yeah, see, you just see them very consistently coming on up, and this is very important because we actually want them for passing several laws and this sort of thing. I guess they're a little bit sticky here at 4% clout, but especially once we also unlock, you know, once we unlock new PMs that use more machinists and engineers, this will also work. But specifically, you know, what is it over here? Human rights is another one of these texts that has a hidden modifier for demarginalizing the trade unionists, and we want the trade unionists because we are doing it the slow way to get onto proportional taxation, which requires, you know, us using the trade unionists in order to do this. So I think we're also going to swap off of oligarchy now onto census suffrage. It doesn't make the industrialists too mad. It does give a negative modifier to them down to just 9 clout, so we will lose their bonus, but we will be able to get the trade unionist bonus up, and they should demarginalize off the back of swapping to census suffrage. They should be powerful enough that, you know, we should be able to get like a decent law passed. We could go universal, but I don't want to overpower the trade unionists kind of moving forward. I would like to have a triple balance between industrialists, intelligentsia, and trade unionists, and so I think it'll be easiest to do with census suffrage here, on top of, you know, we can get back to having the industrialist bonus relatively quickly, but this is going to allow us to get onto proportional taxation, which will be pretty nice. Also nice is the coming in some of these buildings. Now they are eating a huge construction malice, but it is nice that we are getting buildings with full employment here in Transvaal as a result, and we're almost certainly going to start turning this on when, you know, they start having employment problems. I guess we'll just turn it on now, but this will be able to help us out quite a bit, you know, to actually have our construction developing the economy, because as much as we like to have, you know, a lot of construction back here, it's not really helping the economy anymore. Also, we're probably going to turn this off in the near future here and put it on Transvaal instead, especially because that modifier does positively affect, you know, it positively affects gold. In fact, let's just do that now, actually, before we lose authority, and we're going to be running a negative authority, and so it's a little bit easier now. So we're going to put decrees, encourage resource industry. We're going to slap it down in Transvaal. The main thing is it is going to positively affect gold. You can see the throughput is coming up, so that's just going to be more free money. Is that just from that? Wild. Absolutely insane. Gold is very, very, very strong, and so we will also add a couple more railroads at the front, because this is really all where the only place we can build. This place doesn't have much pop either. This just has a little bit of peasants, but it's something, you know, and it is going to pull some migration, especially when gold becomes discovered from our various subjects in the customs union. So it looks like we can pull Mexico into the customs union, which is going to be fantastic. We just have to offer them an obligation. This is fine. We don't really want to bankroll them. It's an expensive bankroll, so bankrolling them into getting them would be a little bit difficult, but once they're in the customs union, they do notably have 9 million pops, a lot of which we don't discriminate against, if my knowledge is correct, so we will be able to siphon these off. do Mexicans... does Mexican have... The question is globally, do Mexicans have European heritage? They are not discriminated in Sweden, but is not present. And so this means that we will start siphoning off a lot of Mexicans into our customs union, because I'm pretty sure that despite their bonuses, like if we take a look, they should have some bonuses. Yeah, we see the migration is leaving. They are going to, well, I guess they're not going to our places yet, but let's take a tick. And now we can see they're coming to our places. They're coming to Norrland, Wheelin, Versat, Swedish South Cameroon, all this types of stuff. And so this is like 7k coming, additional coming, a tick, and so, or a week or whatever it is. And so this is going to be really, really good for us. I think we have enough money now that we can start bankrolling a few people, and I think that it's not going to be really worth it to increase construction that much, because a lot of our construction is not really doing anything. And so maybe we even bankroll someone like Spain, who's just amicable. That's unfortunate. And they're wary now. Maybe Spain will be a little harder to get in the customs union. We'll have a lower rate of return. And these guys, are cooperative. And so we're going to bankroll up in here. A little bit. I guess we'll just start with 2 Sicilies. We're improving relation. I suppose we could stop improving relations so that we can bankroll the Papal States, but I actually kind of would rather, yeah, we want to focus 2 Sicilies first, so we're going to improve relations with 2 Sicilies and bankroll them just to get them up that much faster, but it is going to make a pretty significant positive difference, because now our migration, we're getting 15k. I think we were getting like 10k before. We're getting 16k here a tick. We have decent prop growth as well, just very high migration attraction because we have all these available jobs, and of course the very strong modifier from the Intelligentsia, if this is something you care about, which a lot of our recent runs we have been less concerned about this, but the plus 50% migration attraction is very strong, and the trade unionists are demarginalized and they're happy. So now we're getting manufacturing industries throughput and workforce ratio, and we haven't even gotten onto census suffrage yet. Once we get on to census suffrage, maybe we can get these guys up to being 20% clout, which would certainly be ideal, because if these guys get up to 20% clout, what's going to happen is these bonuses here are going to double, and that's going to be fantastic for us. And of course, we do want them to have a lot of clout for passing proportional taxation here. So a little bit of an example of a psychotic join from the Ottoman Empire, whom we had great relations and a trade agreement with, but this is actually probably pretty good for us, because we're going to get Liberate Bulgaria, which wasn't even something that was on my radar, but is actually probably a pretty solid, thing, because Bulgaria, I mean, it's not the most pops, but it is another European person that we can look, or European country rather, that we can look to pull pops out of, because we don't discriminate against Serbians, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because they have European heritage. And so this will be actually pretty nice, that we will be able to maybe pull someone more into our customs union, and try and siphon off more pops. We can also change Lubeck to our customs union now, and they will just raw dog accept, which is going to be big nice for, they will be less likely to go against us in whatever sort of play that comes forward, I believe. And, we are going for Ecuador here, but very, very strange that, Turkey, or sorry, the Ottoman Empire cares about us subjugating Ecuador. I think we'll focus on Ecuador first, and then look to do something about, the Ottomans. But I think what we're going to do is we're just going to land with 2 armies and keep one back to defend against landings from the Ottoman Empire. We really don't want to have to conscript. It's unfortunate that since we don't have an adjacency to... We have a bit of an army here, but since we don't have an adjacency to the coast, we can't use that army for landings in the South Africa HQ because we haven't taken Zulu, so maybe we want to take Zulu just to kind of unlock that capability. They also do have, of course, coal, which, kind of is a problem for us, but not really so much after annexing, all these boyos. So that's kind of what's going on in terms of our expansion here. So we see here now, of course, it was a good idea for us to have left this behind because the Ottomans do navally invade us, but are, 12k or whatever that is left behind. I think this is partially us and partially Norway here, but they can very easily defend against this 50 stack that's trying to land in through here. As long as we're not getting double landed by the AI, we should be fine just leaving behind this 10 stack. We've also moved the 20 stack now that we've established a beachhead, you know, over here. We've moved the 20 stack over. It'll take them a little while to get there, but enforcing on Ecuador should be relatively easy. Now, we do not have, and maybe this is an argument if we're going after Turkey first. Turkey has no war goals on us, and so I think once our 20 stack gets here, we're going to turn around and we're going to land Turkey, because Turkey can enforce us below 0, you know, Ecuador cannot, so maybe we should have gone for, we probably should have gone for Ecuador or Turkey first, because we really would like to release both Bulgaria and Iraq. Iraq, of course, eventually we want to get the oil from, but Bulgaria will give us access to more European pops, hopefully in the near-ish future. So we're having a little bit of trouble getting in on Eastern Thrace after our 27 stack is now defending here. We promoted him up so he could kind of do a little bit more. He's hanging in there. We don't really mind if he gets pushed out. We'll just reland. I think we want to switch to making sure that we can enforce on, you know, making sure that we can enforce on the Ottomans here. And so we're triple landing on the Ottomans with the plans to promote, if someone gets in, promote them a little bit. Let's take, well, I don't think that radicalism is too bad, so we'll just keep on cranking it in. And we are going to get stuck in at 0, but they can decay as long as we hold some of their territory, which we're about to lose. I think that they're going to kick us out here. If they don't kick us out, not the end of the world. We're stuck in at 0, but we got a triple landing, and ba-boom, someone gets in. Now, this 8 stack is not going to be the best, but what we're going to do is we're going to promote him, and he's going to be just a little bit better, just a tiny bit better. I don't think that they're going to try and land us while this is ongoing, so we're going to move the 6 stack that's kind of at the home base. We're going to have them come in over here and maybe get something in. Also, one of these naval landings is almost certainly going to fail, and so this will allow us to, okay, we're down to 1 front, that's fine, but when one of these naval landings fails, which it does, I guess the other one's likely to fail too. We're just going to try and get in on Eastern Thrace here, and this way we can try and enforce on the Ottomans specifically for releasing Bulgaria. We are spending kind of a lot of time in this war. We only have 2.6 infamy kind of remaining here, so I guess we kind of want to enforce on these guys, you know, and then kind of hope that we can finish the kebab situation relatively quickly. I don't think they're, well, if they land on us, we're actually in pretty bad shape. So I guess we're going to keep the 6 stack behind, because I don't think the 6 stack is really going to help too much pushing here. But they will be really, really effective at defending. And, you know, once the 27 stack, okay, so I think that they will not accept subjugation, and now we're not ticking them down anymore. I think they're stuck at 75 because it is dynamic in that way. But I think we move this 27 stack over here and try and get our enforcement on these guys. We, of course, are having some port problems, and so if you're having port and coal problems, I feel bad for you, son. You might be us. We're going to look where we have the least amount of infra, and we're just going to put down, you know, a couple down there, and then, yeah, I think we'll just kind of do that. We don't have a lot of labor in these places. We don't have a lot of labor anyways, but we are having convoy problems, and so the Ottomans have launched a naval invasion. Well, perfect that we left a guy behind, because this 6 stack is probably going to be able to, you know, defend against this, because they are going to be suffering a huge penalty, and we're going to have 63 defense, so they're just going to get clapped there. And really, once we enforce on them, we can take all these armies that we have and just have them re-land, you know, over in Ecuador and finish enforcing for the main war goal of subjugating Ecuador. We just passed census suffrage, and of course our legitimacy collapses because we don't have any legitimacy from votes yet, not having held an election. But it does look like we can form a fairly legitimate, you know, party here, and so I think we're going to do this. Now, what we can do is we can lower taxes to get another 5 legitimacy, and we can get started on, you know, proportional taxation right away. The Industrialists don't like that. The trade union, or sorry, the landowners really don't like it, but this will generate us a lot more revenue, and so we'll see if we can get this in, and then we will be more legitimate sometime down the line. We have swapped to just defending fronts here, because we do, oh, do we not hold Eastern Thrace no more? We don't hold Eastern Thrace no more. So that changes things a little bit. Perhaps we just need to triple land Eastern Thrace to make sure that we're ticking on these boyos here. So I think we're going to triple land Eastern Thrace, making sure to leave August behind. We do not want to land with August, and the reason for this is August is the one, the gentleman, who is defending our homelands that is preventing us from getting enforced below 0. So there's no way we get enforced below 0 as long as August is here, and so this is pretty significant here. We also could do this to enforce on Ecuador immediately, but we really want to make sure we've spent so long in this war already, we really want to make sure we get the enforcements on Kebab, and so this will help us out quite a lot just to make sure we get the enforcements on Kebab. I think Kebab is kind of over this war a little bit, but they're not willing to, like, accept something like this, or even remotely, unless we're on top of their capital. And so we do have to get on top of their capital. We can have the authoritarian or the moderate. Well, let them duke it out. Hopefully we don't low roll something bad. We get a Republican for this guy, but their bonus is pretty good for us. Now, we're illegitimate again. Super illegitimate. Oh, is it because... Oh, now we have a market liberal intelligentsia guy, which is inconsistent with the trade unions, because this guy died too. That is unfortunate. That's going to make it impossible for us to actually... Well, so, I think the intelligentsia is going to do fairly well in this election. I think maybe we just leave it. Yikes. You know, here, let's take a look. The landowner combined party is looking like they're doing pretty good. The trade unionist party is looking pretty good. And the intelligentsia party is looking decent up here. I'm thinking we might just leave our government as hyper illegitimate right now, just so we don't break on our ability to pass this law. Really unfortunate to kind of low roll the fact that this guy just dies before we finish the election, like in the 180 days. So that's unfortunate, but we'll just keep on with this and keep on with this war. Alright, so our election comes in, and it looks like the Social Democratic Party wins. Oh, did they get marginalized before the election finished? That would be fantastic. The landowners did get marginalized before the election finished, and now we're left with a fairly legitimate government that can try and pass this law. Also, a little bit more clout for the trade unionists, approaching 20%, so we're almost at that nice triple balance. Of course, the industrialists are mad, so we'll probably look to pass something like poor laws, or you know, private what is it, healthcare, in order to make them happy after proportional taxation comes in. It looks like we might have to settle for just getting Ecuador in this war, so we have navally landed them over here. And the reason why I think we have to man, unlucky that we roll right next to New Granada, because our front will get bricked almost immediately by them. Yeah, that's super unlucky. That's super annoying. But the idea here is that we are now involved in combat with, you know, the U.S. We'll land with Emil, and also not August. August is staying home and defending. But we also have this conflict now with the U.S. That we get pulled into because of reasons. I think that maybe we'll just side over here so that they like us more. Great Qing. Now their attitude might improve. Yeah, they're genial now, and so I think we're going to improve relations. Maybe if we can pull them into our customs union, that'd be fantastic. We're not going to bankroll them, but this would be a very good thing. But now, yeah, now we're no longer controlling any of Eastern Thrace, and so we can reland, try and make sure this goes through, but I think we're going to try and get the Ecuador land, and then maybe try and help out Mexico. Maybe we should just go for this, though, and ignore our ally. Yeah, this is going to not work out so well. I think that we're going to move this big guy, though, over, at least for now, over to here. This will nearly double the amount of troops on this front, and so this will kind of help out. We definitely want approval rate on our, you know, industrialists. So here's much more lucky because New Granada does not immediately start with a double front here, and so we're probably going to get this enforcement in off the back of him, and so you know, we are going to need to reland here, and so we know we can use, maybe we can take a little bit of a risk here. Well, actually, I think we have to wait for this guy to not be in combat because we want to use him for the landing, but we're going to try and land Thrace here in just a second. The Ottomans will never capitulate if we don't control their capital, but now we are going to tick below 0 because, you know, we have war reps in there. New Granada, I really wish that they would just... we shouldn't have put in war reps on them. We would have preferred to be able to, like, see exactly how we're doing against these guys. But these guys, okay, so Emmanuel Lundberg is now not here, or he's not in combat, so, oh man. Is this really how this works? Alright, we're just gonna land. Oop, oh my god. Alright, we're just gonna triple land and cross our fingers and pray. that we don't get navally landed. Although what we can do is, yeah, we're actually just going to get enforced on pretty quick here. What we can do, I mean, maybe we should have tried to go for the kebab. It's kind of unfortunate. We'll just kit this out. Maybe we should have gone for kebab here. We are getting enforced pretty quickly. We can't get, they can't get ticked. The kebab will never capitulate unless we control all the war goals, which we currently don't. Is there any way that we can do just some of these that they'll accept? No, we're probably going to get white pieced at the end here. We don't really have that strong a military, and so this is maybe a fair kind of resolution to this. We still get our main thing, but maybe our landings get there in time, and kebab decides that they've had enough. Big nice there. I think we do want to split them a little bit. So can we get anything on kebab? Liberate Bulgaria? No, we're just getting capitulated out, which is unfortunate. But now I think we just do a massive naval landing on the US capital here and look to try and deal with them that way. I think we're going to land with all of our 6 stacks. Actually, let's land with a 12 stack and let's leave a 6 stack kind of at home to defend. They do have a war goal in on us. Actually, let's just land with everything. They have a war goal in on us to humiliate, but we don't really care too much. And so it would be nice if we could manage to save Mexico some of their dirt, because we're hoping that at some point we are able to get control of Mexico. Ooh, they want to transfer Guatemala. That actually we do care about. So why don't we cancel one of these ones? We'll just raid convoys over here, I guess. And this will cancel the 6 stack who will stay in the Baltic, so it'll be hard for them to transfer Guatemala away from us. Hey, we get proportional taxation, which should help with the fact that this has been kind of creeping up, you know, for a while now. I think we're going to kind of try and let our private queue tick up a bunch of stuff, and so we're going to try and not put anything in the construction queue and just like let this tick out. Also, we are kind of winning against the USA here. We do need to stay in the war in order for Mexico to finish this up, but we would be super fine with white peace. Mexico's not quite fine with white peace, but they didn't put return anything, but it's gonna be nice to have a truce with the USA after this. Man, it really didn't budge our situation too much, and so maybe we need to rethink like some of our things. We are having kind of big problems as far as it comes to labor, as we've obviously been having. There is quite a bit of chaos going on. I believe this is the war for Italian unification, which, to be fair, we would prefer that Italy doesn't unify. That way we can pull them into the customs union, but it does look like Italy is having a little bit of a problem with the loud cars outside, at least at this point in time, and so this is going to be good for us. We're just sticking in here and just defending, that way we don't get pushed out slowly by attacking, and so, I mean, you should finish up this war pretty soon here, Mexico. Can we just white peace this? We don't need war reps for you. That's quite enough. You've had enough. We've helped you out a lot. We are on 0 infamy, which means if you're not using your infamy decay, you're losing it. So this is kind of why we would rather just get out of here, but we also don't want the US to randomly enforce on Mexico right after we leave. Something like this, which would be unfortunate for us. You know, we also kind of ruined our, like, Papal States idea, where we're trying to pull them into our customs union off them, you know, ostensibly possibly getting unified. They are one of the holdouts. You know, we were improving relations with Sardinia, Piedmont, and let's see, is this, okay, we're fine with this. We're okay with you taking American war reps, definitely super okay, and we finish path to liberalism. I think we're gonna take Ehrenmark, this guy. I think we're gonna take popularity for him, maybe. Actually, can we swap him to... This guy will switch to Reformer. I don't think we necessarily need that. Market Liberal is pretty happy with what we got going on. But this Jingoist would swap to Radical. That would probably almost certainly going to make him happier. This Industrialist being Radical. Yeah, see, he didn't have any bonuses. Now he's got some bonuses for us. And we are really close to having the triple balance of these guys. 20% clout, all happy. which is really, really kind of what we want. It's going to be harder with the new radicalism changes. I'm not sure if those are in 1.4. They're definitely in 1.5, and so that's something to keep in mind. We can't swap off of monarchy just yet, as much as we would like to, as a result of things usually having to do with reasons, but I think we're going to go for poor laws now, and that this poor laws will help us also to keep, you know, these guys happy, extremely happy, and so everyone's happy now, which means we're going to be getting nice bonuses. That immediately increases the investment pool transfer. You see it could tick up off the bonus of this. Rise of radicalism. Popular radical permanently. I guess I don't hate that. Okay. Yeah, this is a little bit of a problem because we don't want to swap off of monarchism until we go, yeah. We need National Guard. Tyranny is not the answer. Yeah, tyranny is not the answer. This is the case. And so we're going to need to find a war here that we want to get involved in, because we are, if you're not using your infamy decay, you're losing it. But we're going to have to try and figure this out too. I was really hoping that, you know, it's not that we're just getting buried under interest. We're getting buried under Oh, it's because we're bankrolling 2 Sicilies, which is huge now. Yeah, let's stop doing that. Let's stop bankrolling them. And we don't know exactly what's going to happen, you know, with the Papal States. So, or will we have an obligation? Why don't we use this obligation to make a trade agreement? I don't think we're going to be able to get them in, but we're going to stop bankrolling them. And then Denmark's already in our customs union, so we could really stop. And so this will hopefully, yeah, we'll just focus our money back into our economy and look to eco up, and also find ourselves something juicy to go after. Finally do get the mine collapse, giving us, you know, the gold mines here in Transvaal. We're going to kick them to the front of the queue. This is going to be really big nice for us. We are starting to, you know, crank up here. We've decided to go after Tripolitania because they do have a lot of oil later on, and they're kind of an easy target. Was really hoping they'd back down because it only is like 6 infamy, but you know, not too big a deal. We're cranking in on these poor laws, but we just continue to have problems with the population. You can see we're starting to get a nice, more vertical crank up on our population, which is the result of, you know, us kind of establishing and expanding our customs union over time. Mexico being in there is really good for us. Why don't we take a look at how many Mexican pops we have? Yeah, we see we do have like 3k Mexican pops, or sorry, 16k Mexican pops, 3% of our population, and here we have 16k, which is 1% of our population here, which is helping, but it's overall it's not enough at this point in time. Great Qing we have a trade agreement with, so we're going to tick up to friendly with them. We probably can stop improving relations with them, but we are floating some influence right now anyways, and so this is going to be good for us, and if we can pull them into customs union will also be nice. You know, the UK is being a little bit naughty and they're taking Guangdong, but okay, fair enough. It looks like France is going to help out though, and the UK is maybe not a fan of that, but the big one is going to be these gold mines coming in. Very, very strong. You know, it has been, you can make some argument that like the tech for like nitroglycerin and dynamite is extra good, assuming you're going to go for gold mines early. We're also researching pan-nationalism. I think since we have this money kind of available, and we haven't really expanded the unis at all because we have been like really stuck for labor, I think we're going to add a little bit more of this at the back of the queue. Really struggling overall though. The population aspect of this run has been a lot tougher than I thought it would be, but it's very nice that we now are starting to get a bigger customs union, and so we're probably going to continue to, so maybe we shouldn't have gone after Tripolitania, maybe we should have gone after someone with European pops. This is a bit of a consideration, because, you know, I think we're siphoning off a little bit of pops from these guys, because they do have both indigenous populations and, you know, your European populations, and these ones with European heritage specifically, we are going to be able to, you know, siphon off in this type of thing. But also with the New World, one of the problems is they have a ton of migration attraction, and so it's actually going to be somewhat difficult for us to siphon them off generally. I think that our Intelligentsia is probably really happy with us, so we're probably going to take the one that gives -2 approval. Yeah, we're going to take the State the Course event, and also very nice, you know, the event chain, what is it called? Here, actually, we're going to decrease this back down. The Springtimes of the People is giving us radicals everywhere, which actually makes it easier for us to have a legitimate government. We ticked down the taxes, so we would be in the better legitimate bracket. We can turn on this bone china and paper bleaching as well. But, like, overall, you know, it's kind of looking pretty good. But well, it's looking good and bad at the same time, you know what I mean? Because here, why don't we probably do sell, 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 and two Sicilies, they couldn't do it. They lacked the constitution and the fortitude. I think we're going to come in and we're going to start bankrolling these guys again and look to get them into the customs union and improve relations with Sardinia Piedmont, who was released from here. In fact, let's see if we can get anyone in the customs union now. Or actually, we need a little bit more Diplo, so why don't we stop improving relations with Great Qing, because their usefulness would be way down the line once we have multiculturalism, and we see that we can pull the Papal States into our customs union. I think that... Well, I'm thinking we're not going to be protectorating them anytime soon, so we're just going to owe them an obligation, and I think we're going to stop bankrolling them because we don't want to lose more money, but owing them an obligation will be nice because once they're in our customs union, if we take a look, we're not discriminating against their pops, and they have 3 million pops of which to siphon off from us, for us, to be able to siphon off, and we should see a negative migration. Yeah, these guys they was at 0 before, and now they're leaving to come to our places, and so this is going to be absolutely fantastic for us, that these are just like, we're having 27k incoming. This is like one of the reasons why our population line is getting steeper and steeper as the game goes on, and we expand the customs union, and so this is going to help out a lot for you know, our current situation. But I think we're going to conclude this episode. This episode was mainly about making money moves and expanding the customs union. You know, we have pan-nationalism coming on up. Specifically, I mean, maybe... it's a shame we didn't get the Bulgaria thing going, you know, along with Iraq. This would have been nice. But we did, here at the end, kind of pip these gold mines. We went down in construction over the course of this episode. That's not too common, but really the construction is not really valuable or it's much less valuable if, you know, people cannot be utilizing it, and we just don't have really too many states that have available employment anywhere. And so, well, I guess in Madagascar, but we have a lot of, I mean, we might start building here, but we have a lot of turmoil. They're 20-year incorporations, so incorporating in order to get the police affecting this would not be that great. And, you know, with this level of turmoil, even with the edicts, I mean, like, maybe it's what we do. Ideally, we would want to just stop discriminating against these pops and then siphon them off, you know, into areas where we already have a lot built, but not a lot of, you know, people, we don't have full employment. I guess we've actually cranked up quite a lot here, and yeah, but here's the problem. Like, we have the mine. We're gonna do the 21 for the throughput cap, but like, you know, it is a problem. We're probably gonna go Steam Donkey relatively early because that's gonna be a really good tech for us because it's going to labor save in a ton of areas that we care about. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Really about expanding the customs union, making money moves, and you know, do the YouTube algo stuff, like, comment, subscribe. Other than that, have a good day.